this meeting to order. Our purpose here is to have some discussion have discussion with Minde Beehner, discussing concerns about minutes and records of the Board of County Commissioners meetings. And I don't know anything more about it than that, so I'm gonna start by turning it over to you to tell us what's going on.
Excuse me, I developed a problem this morning that I have not been able to get rid of, so hopefully it will go. These are just like some things I'm gonna refer to, so I tried to make a copy for everybody.
Thank you, that's a good practice.
I realize that two of you have only been in office for a month and are probably up to your eyeballs in figuring out the courthouse and your new jobs. And Commissioner Casady has only served a few months longer than you guys, but at least has the benefit of having been in the courthouse and kind of knowing its understandings and workings. So I'm hopefully not gonna be like too detail oriented, but if you have a question, ask if I've spaced off and gone over something. So I'm not here to ask the BOCC to do anything for me. I'm here to bring to light some concerns that myself and others have had with the BOCC meetings or minutes and agendas. It has been a while. It has been well known around the courthouse that my husband has recorded BOCC meetings for a long time. Neither he or I ever did that in the beginning when we attended meetings. However, when we started seeing misinformation being spread and sometimes about us, the recordings we started recording to be able to hold the elected officials responsible to their words, their actions, and to protect ourselves sometimes. I was going to go back a long ways and get many examples of the problems with the BOCC minutes, but to be honest, as I started going through them, they just started to upset me more, and I decided I would just present what I had and not waste any more of my time. The examples I will share are only from the past year, but there are examples further back. I am not pointing a finger at any individual, as I'm just trying to bring the importance of the correct meeting minutes to the forefront. As the county clerk has told me before in emails, the minutes are the official record of the county. Past minutes have been used in hearings as evidence, and they need to be correct. I know that none of the meeting minutes mistakes that I present to you today are going to be corrected. You just need to be aware of it and try to make sure it stops happening. Some of the mistakes are very minor. Some of them are very major. As I go through my examples, please remember that I'm not pointing out anything that I was not able to verify off of a recording from a minute. So it's not just coming from my recollection or someone's notes. So the first page is Idaho Code 74205 that directs what has to be in county minutes. And I only wanted to present this because ex-BOCC member had tried to do it during a meeting and failed at putting the requirements out correctly. It's pretty simple read. Honestly, the minutes only need to record who from the governing body was here, what motions or resolutions, etc. that were taken, and the results of all of those votes. In the past, it has been that the BOCC goes ahead and adds a little, narrative so that the public can know what's going on. Let's see. The second one is, excuse me, an email that some minutes that I was trying from a meeting of mine that I was trying to get corrected. That I have an email from Ben that he agrees that there is a narrative put out there, and that even though there are only specific things that need to be in the minutes, the minutes should not include any factual falsities. And then the last one I'm bringing up is Resolution 2021-6, which is the public hearing rules and procedures. And I just brought that in because it does have, according to Shoshone County's rules, page 2, that all public hearings shall be recorded electronically. So that's just kind of some background to go with some of the items that I'm going to go through with you. Let's see. The first chunk of them, if they're kind of stapled together if you take the paper clip off, but the first chunk is pertaining to minutes from July 18th, 2022 and August 3rd, 2022. And I will tell you that I do not have a recording of the July 18th meeting. We weren't in attendance of that. It was pertaining to ARPA grants, ARPA and county building improvements and the subrecipient MOU. And in it, based off of what's read there, I believe, but again, it's just I believe because there was no motions made or anything. It was just discussion done at the time pertaining to the Clarkia Water and Sewer, East Shoshone County Water District, Mountain Cascadia's request, and the Shoshone County Crisis and Resource Center. I'm assuming that this, like it said, again, it was just things that were discussed because there's no motion or anything like that. So, and there was also discussion at that meeting about the grant administrator getting with the prosecuting attorney Brittany to get the MOU for subrecipients completed. So again, that I'm assuming was just a direction given by the board because there was no motions from that meeting. We then go to the August 3rd meeting, and this is where I had some concerns. There is, they're having a meeting about again, the subrecipient agreement and the ARPA funds. The city of Kellogg had requested funds. Down near the bottom, it's Fitzgerald recused himself. Hanson made a motion to approve the $70,000 and Commissioner Huber seconded. But there's no distinction there on what the vote was. I did listen to the tape and they did actually vote there at that specific time, and Mike did not vote. The other two commissioners voted, so that passed. I mean, it's totally fine, but there's no record of it having been voted on. Shoshone County, or Shoshone Fire District 1, exact same thing. The money was presented, but the vote was not recorded in the minutes. It is online, so that was voted for individually. And the same thing goes, oh, excuse me, it does not go because Commissioner for the solid waste, Commissioner Huber made the motion, Hanson seconded it, and the motion carried. So that one acknowledges it. The only problem is that in listening back to those to verify it, Commissioner Hanson actually didn't second it. Commissioner Fitzgerald seconded that motion. But the most concerning one is the one with the Shoshone County Crisis Center, because it says the board will award money for 2 years for rent, utilities, phone, and in the amount of $27,000. This was never talked about in that meeting. It was on the list, and the grant administrator started to try to bring it up, and Commissioner Fitzgerald talked over the top of her and went to the memorandum of understanding, and it went on. So at this point, I haven't been able to follow through to where this is listed as having been awarded. I can't find in the minutes the meeting following this in August where it was actually awarded. You know, needs to be, you know, if you guys can't find it, then, you know, make a motion quick and do it, because that's obviously a good use of those funds. But on the tape recording, it was never discussed in that meeting. Into September, we have 2 public hearings that were held for the ambulance district and the county's budgets. And again, part of the importance of that was I've got records requests where I was requesting that I could listen to the audio for it because I had not brought a tape recorder and didn't get it recorded. And I did end up getting a recording or a request from the public records request back saying that there was no recording of these 2 public hearings, and Tammy's email said that she thought that the recorder was recording, but it didn't pick it up, but the audio recording, so the audio recording doesn't exist. The meeting minutes reflect who was there and who provided comments. The newspaper did, and I will actually say the reason I kind of thought back to this one was I was very surprised not to see the silver recorder sitting at the table, and the picture that the news press said is clearly no recorder sitting on the table. So this is probably during part of the transition and was an oversight, but it still wasn't that it didn't record. And if it shows who was there in that, the minutes reflect that Treasurer Ellen Masterson was there. She was not at the hearing. Let's see. Then on September 7th, there was a business meeting. And again, as I pointed out earlier, some of these are very minor, some of these are major, just wanting to point them out. The minutes from the meeting of September 7th, says that they approved the minutes for August 30th through September 1st, 2022. Again, not a big deal, but those dates are wrong in the meeting, or in the minutes. There was also no vote for this. This is something that comes up pretty frequently. It's a 50-50 shot on the agenda if the old business item is approved by its own motion or whether it's combined in with the consent agenda. But when you look at the agenda that it's set up, old business is its own item. Those minutes being approved are not part of the consent agenda. So anyone that they look at those and then just throw it all into the consent and make one motion to approve, you really haven't approved the minutes. In the consent part, in the consent, they go down to executive session. This is September 7th, remember. Our county records reflect that a motion was made by Commissioner Fitzgerald and seconded by Huber to go into executive session per code 74206D. A roll call vote was taken. Commissioner Huber, aye. Commissioner Fitzgerald, aye. Commissioner Hanson, aye. Commissioner Fitzgerald was no longer a commissioner on that day. Commissioner Casady was sitting. There is also no mention of...
I was wondering where I was.
Pardon?
I was wondering where I was.
Well, you apparently were a Fitzgerald, so. Excuse me. There's also no mention, like before the cancellation portion there, of coming out of executive session or no action to be taken or anything. It just, you went in and then there's cancellations. And you are supposed to say that you've come out of executive session and then if anything were to be going on. Let's see, I believe that's the, oh, no, that's not, sorry. The 1 o'clock meeting on that agenda was a public hearing to discuss, review, and consider a revised fee increase for the resolution, or by resolution, for Shoshone County Solid Waste Transfer Station. So, again, public hearing. I have not requested that recording, but my guess would be that it probably isn't at the time, because when you go to the minutes, which are on page... I didn't write the page number for you. I think they started around, on 14, sorry. The meeting was clearly ran, which, I mean, somebody might not have been here at all to make public comment in that, but it's still a public hearing. You open it as a hearing, you state that there is no, nobody to do the pros or the cons, and you have whatever presentation from the solid waste guy, and close your hearing, and then you have your discussion and you start with making the motion. And so this was ran just basically as a meeting. It's page 14, I think. So Commissioner Casady had made her motion and Commissioner Huber had seconded it, and it was to accept the new fee schedule as presented effective October 1st, 2022, which would be a fine motion, and it says it carried unanimously. The problem is you go to page 16 in the resolution, and it says, be it resolved that the following fee schedule is established for the Solid Waste Department effective January 1st, 2023. So the resolution does not reflect what the motion said. So again, it's not correct. Let's see. The next little chunk is from June 14th, and this is pertaining to proposals to provide on-call planning and zoning consulting services. I do not have a recording of this meeting, so I will be clear with you there, but it does it does state that, you know, it is, sorry, this one I do have the reporting of, I don't have one of September, so. They're looking for consulting services. Commissioner Fitzgerald states during the meeting that, it says multiple interested parties, which is true. He stated he had either spoken to personally or through the RFP, 18 to 20 outfits. There was no RFP described or no RFP that I could chase down. I'm not sure what the RFP was, but he did have Monica Miller take it to the Planning and Zoning Commission to see about their recommendations, and then bring it back and let the commissioners know what they were gonna do. I was at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and and I have that recorded. Monica presented it. She was somewhat confused at what the BOCC was wanting them to do. The commission was somewhat confused. They thought they were going to be involved in doing the RFP and then being able to, you know, like look at who had turned it in. They weren't aware if anybody else had turned it in, if this was the only one. They kind of felt like, why are we being asked to okay this when it's obviously been a done deal already, kind of thing. And so they did not want to take any action. They were sending Monica back to get some further information. I wasn't able to attend the next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, but in speaking to one of them, they, you know, told me, they're like, yeah, the commissioners are handling that. We don't know what's going on with it. So it's, you know, like I said, it's listed again on September 13th for proposed service contract for consulting services. And the meeting on the 13th of September was canceled because I believe, Monica wasn't here that day and she had the paperwork. So they did reschedule for September 20th and had their meeting. This is the one that I do not have a recording of. But the minutes say who was here, and that the, well, actually it said that the proposed service contract with HMH Engineering for P&Z Consulting, it lists who was there. The goal is to assist P&Z with larger projects such as subdivisions, floodplain management, attending project meetings, looking into recreational fees, updating our comprehensive plan, zone changes, and revising revising our applications. All very good things because P&Z, you know, needed some help with that, being busy with everything else. But we then just go into HMH will perform the additional activities using the task order process in place today. There is no motion, there is nothing else. There's nothing about what the task order process is in place. There's no list of the contract or how much the contract is for, and there's, like I said, no motion to approve it or anything else. So in the meantime, Planning and Zoning has been using HMH for their items with only a draft that again has no, or draft of a contract that's not signed and has no dollar amount on it. Let's see. October 25th, executive session. Going in with Ben for meeting minutes. Coming out of the meeting minutes, or coming out of the executive session, there really isn't a motion. It says no other actions will be taken, but the amended minutes will be addressed on the consent calendar for tomorrow. Which it is, well, I mean, I guess it isn't listed. It is listed under old business for considering those, which, oh, okay, I hope your pages aren't upside down, mine are.
Well, we're good.
Okay, the meeting minutes, you come out of executive session and you say that they're gonna be dealt with by tomorrow, but yet miraculously, they're already on the agenda, so at some point before executive session, there had been a decision made that those were gonna be taking place, so who knows what was really discussed in executive session. Let's see. And there was also like no motion to say those will be taken care of. It's just no action to be taken. So then the 26th comes around, and that's that's a meeting that many people sitting in this room are more than aware of because it was a complete mess. We're watching, the meeting's going on. I've only listened to the tape, I wasn't at it. Commissioner Hanson had asked if there was any old business, which that is the 2 sets of meeting minutes, and there was none added. No vote was taken. They went on to the consent agenda, and Commissioner Hanson called for a motion. Commissioner Casady made the motion to approve the consent agenda. Commissioner Hanson seconded it. And then, as it states, only one of the 2 commissioners verbally approved the motion, therefore it did not pass. This set of minutes is actually the second amendment or the third attempt, because we were asked to go through the first amendment and listen to our tape and correct what wasn't right. Tammy had emailed both Matt and myself. I sat down and went through the tape and did the minutes, or took notes as I went through the minutes, and corrected Tammy's first amendment with some things that had been incorrect. When this part of the minutes that is presented here came out, part of the things that I had said were on the tape or weren't on the tape. Part of them were corrected, part of them weren't. The big concern is they went into executive session per Commissioner Cassidy's motion to discuss the September meeting minutes from the 26th to the 29th. There's no code in executive session for going in under minutes. Minutes are a public record, so they definitely would not be handled in an executive session. They made the motion to go in under D, which is records that are exempt. Commissioner Hanson made the second. They did not do a roll call vote. Went into executive session, Matt left the room. Matt comes back into the room, and as the commissioners are coming in, Commissioner Hanson said that they made a mistake. They should have gone in, he thinks, under B, which I'm not 100% sure. It's either employees' qualifications or that might be the evaluation one. I'm not sure off between A and B. And that should be changed, and like I said, Matt was already back in the room, and all we're gonna do is amend the signatures on the meeting, or on the minutes. So, going into executive session for the minutes was not on the agenda. There's not a code to go into executive session for minutes. They changed the code when they came out of it. There was no motion or vote to go into executive session, and no motion on the action to amend the minutes. So, like I said, basically that was just a meeting of mishaps over and over again. Matt had he made a request to bid on something, correcting them, I believe, and something was done. But just prior to the commissioners leaving, Matt had told them that, you know, they didn't go back in and do anything to change them. They've stayed the same. And so on January 4th, your legal advice said that they were going to do a ratification of those October 26th meetings. And it says that Prosecuting Attorney Ben Allen says, by the presence of the commissioner's signatures, it can be assumed that it has all been approved. It seems to be public concern that actual record of the meetings does not reflect a majority approved the consent agenda. Well, the actual minutes that were typed up says, does not reflect. I mean, it clearly does not reflect. It says only one of the 2 commissioners verbally approved the motion, therefore it did not pass. But yet the work or all of the items that were pertaining in there went ahead, were spent on, were done, or whatever. The business of the commissioners was done, even when the minutes say the motion didn't pass. So that's what we were trying to say, is you need to get the minutes corrected. And Prosecuting Attorney Ben, again, like I said, I wouldn't make this statement based off of what I've seen on it, that just because the commissioners have signed it, we'll assume that it's all been approved. I've shown plenty of examples where it has not been approved. So, the business had gone on. So, like I said, I had some other ones here. A lot of those are just the basic, again, a consent agenda doesn't include the old business, it's an item of its own, and if it is a consent, and, you know, motions should be recorded. And so I'm just concerned with, being able to pick some of those things out and just having a better record. I did miss one part. The prosecuting attorney has told me in the past that he had requested that the BOCC record their meetings, but the past BOCC board had not wished to do so. So I was super thrilled in the last few months to see the little silver recorder start showing up, and I'm even more excited that we're moving towards being able to have the BOCC meetings recorded and posted online for all of the public's benefit. It's not only helpful to the public to see, but it's also helpful if there's a question on what took place during the meeting. It also keeps the meetings much more professional too. So anyway, my wind up on it is that I do think the minutes in the themes, especially in like the last year, they've improved drastically because they got away from all of this here to wit, they adjourned and, you know, no meetings were held, and I mean, it was old school gobbledygook the way that they were written, and it, you know, it might have followed how things were done at that point, but it definitely was not very user friendly or anything. So like I said, a lot of these things were very minor, some of them are major, but please remember, it's not a matter of the degree of the correctness or the outright falsehood. It's a matter that these are the minutes and the records of the commissioners. And I had a couple ideas if that I've seen in some other places, and when I was on a school board on things that were done. If the minute, like there are some minutes that have been amended, but there's only, in 2022, if you look back, there is one week that it's marked amended by it. And if the minutes have been amended, they should be noted that online too, so that people can, if they might have had the first set printed and there's a new set there, that they know that it's amended. The county used to do, if after they posted their agenda, if the agenda had to be amended, whatever item was added on there was put on in like a bold print, so somebody could know like what the difference was. And, you know, hopefully it's not something that has to happen very often, but there's been, like in the past couple weeks, because a lot of things were getting thrown on that, you know, you go online and it says amended, and it's like, oh, okay, but I'd already printed that one, and then you go on 2 days later, and because somebody says, oh, well, this was added, and it's like, well, I don't see it on there, but it still just says amended. You know, if it can be identified as, you know, like you do your agenda, if you have to amend it, you amend it. If you have to amend it again, it's amendment 2 or something, so that there's some sort of a recognizer to somebody that's not checking, you know, every day on what's going on there. And the minutes, like I said, the minutes now where it shows, hey, 10 o'clock we met and did whatever, very easy to follow. The only thing that I found in trying to go back to see if Commissioner Casady was there or not is that, like, the beginning of the day, it lists who was there, and sometimes there just might be you go into the next meeting or one an hour later, and it just starts like with whatever the meeting is. It doesn't list again who was there, and it's like each of those are individual meetings. There's, you know, somebody may have popped out and had to go to a meeting somewhere else, and you're wondering if it says it passed unanimously and there was only a motion and a second, it's like, were all 3 of the people there? Do I, you know, hold everybody accountable to this choice? Or, you know, who was what vote? So some more clarity on, you know, like meetings opening, adjourning, because some of them, even the minutes now, it's like, it's a template. I know it's gotta be a template because it's at the end, it's like the meeting adjourned. Some of them will say it adjourned, some of them don't, but it'll say a lot of times the meeting adjourned, and then the next sentence down is therefore being no more business, the meeting adjourned. And it's like, that's just a line off of the template that if each meeting is looked at as their own meeting, it's like you would have an opening, you would have who was there, and you would adjourn that meeting. So it's not continually going on. Like I said, there's been a lot of positive things, nice access to be able to online put in a request to be on the board or to be on the agenda, being able to access that. But I have heard in the last month this used quite frequently. If someone says it is historically how we have always done it, run the other way, because just because it's being done that way doesn't mean it was being done correct, or that it can't be done a better way. There's things changed, open meeting laws changed since you were not in here before in that, and, you know, everybody can always pick up a new idea, so.
We are, putting second amended or third amended, right?
No,
on those.
I haven't
On-
been.
Okay.
And it would probably, I know, like, in the past, there had been one, it was kind of funny, because the agenda was there and it said amended dash amended. And that, you know, and so it was like, okay, well, they've amended it twice kind of thing, and that, so it has been done in the past, but it was something that, like I said, it's been a very hectic month, and I realized that, so that was just something that I know would make it a lot easier
Jeff
on,
already said that last week.
you know, did I already print that one? Do I know what's going on and stuff, so. Anyway, like I said, I'm not really looking to have any of these things looked back at. I mean, I am concerned on the crisis center, cause that's ARPA fund stuff, that if you guys can't find it in there, I'll bring that to your attention. Please make a motion and get that taken care of, because, that's a very worthwhile cause, and I don't wanna be accused online and that of trying to take money away from, people in crisis. So that's not the purpose of this, to punish or, you know, affect anything that had been done. It is to be like, moving forward, can we please keep an eye on this, because, you know, the minutes are done, they're presented, 3 sets of eyes are supposed to be reading them, and it just seems like there's a lot of things that, slip through.
Okay, thank you for that. Those are all good thoughts. Any questions from the commissioners? Comments?
All right. Got any questions, any comments?
No. Tammy, any thoughts? Okay.
I know we discussed numbering our amendments, it just helps us to, when we got them all on our desk, know which
that
one's
was
the
already-
first one, last
correct.
one.
Yeah.
We'll-
It's already a
we'll do that.
suggestion.
Yeah,
So, good
yeah,
idea on that
Jeff did
one.
that last week, so.
Cool. Okay, public question or comment, Mr. Beehner?
No, I'm with her.
You're with her? Okay. John?
Nope, I'm good.
Jay?
Nothing.
Colleen?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
RG? Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to note all that. I agree with you that it's important that we be as accurate as humanly possible. And I think, in my month here, seen everybody working on that, so we will continue to do so. And thank you for the ideas as well. It's good to hear some positive thoughts on things that could be done, and it sounds like we're already taking one of those into consideration.
I do have one question if I can ask, because it wasn't going to pertain to, I've had some meeting minutes that were being corrected by Ben and Jasmine, so I was just, it's been like a month since.
It's actually in Commissioner Dose's lap. I've been
Is
waiting
it?
for
Okay.
him to let me know how to move forward with that.
Gotcha, okay. That was just my one question.
Yeah. We are addressing that, and I think that's gonna be, we're gonna make that final change, but we think that's about as far as we're gonna be able to change it at this point, since nobody at all here was there.
Mhm.
But we are making the final change that you had asked for, so we'll get that to you in writing. Okay? That is my
And then
fault.
the correction online.
Yes.
That's the other thing, is that sometimes trying to follow stuff when they, like, the ratification that took place in January, that, you know, if it was ratified, there should be some sort of connection with that January minutes, ratifying it back to that October minutes, because you can't chase it down through months and months later, so.
So do you guys wanna make a motion that we'll ratify those then? And put it in the minutes so it's there?
You were already voted on during that ratification. I think Mindy's asking
I'm
for
just
that to be shown.
To add,
Follow through.
to add the additional comment that Mike wrote, correct?
Oh, okay, we were talking two different things, sorry. So,
Do we need to vote on I don't think we have voted on that one, have we? On her last,
on my May
Yeah,
25th, what
it's-
you're
Oh,
just.
no, that, and I don't think that requires a vote,
okay.
as long as I make the
Okay.
amendment and,
I was more the one in January that they ratified for October,
So-
that it was.
right,
That
in that
changes
in that
position.
one, they they voted to
Right, yeah.
ratify it.
I'm
so
just
that
saying
would-
that, like, it pertains to an October meeting and it was done in January, that somehow that, I don't know if, you know, a note or something that was ratified on whatever day can be added to the minutes so that, because like I said, you're sitting there in October reading it and you see that it's, you know, like, motion didn't pass or whatever, and you're thinking, what went on? Well, it was corrected later on, but how, if somebody doesn't sit there and read two and a half months worth of minutes, they're not gonna know that it's connected back to it, so.
Okay. Well, let's get to you with that last one then, all right? All right. Seeing no more discussion, I'm going to adjourn this meeting and let the record show.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for taking the time. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time.
Okay.